Hello, welcome to another video, and I have really bad news. If you haven't seen this at all for the last probably few months, I envy you because it seems like it's everywhere now, and it is that gaming's just over. 2024 is it for gaming. It's fucking done. Everything has changed, and it's never going to be the same, and it's basically done. Might as well quit playing video games now. There's nothing good that comes out anymore because that's insane. Everything now is just absolute shitty shovelware slop. If you can't tell, I'm not being serious. I do not think gaming is over. I think 2025 is probably going to be a great year for video games. It seems like every year is a pretty good year for video games. But if you are, on Twitter a lot, on YouTube a lot and everything, watching video game content, you are probably have come across videos / people just talking about it where the video gaming industry is broken, it's not the same, it's absolutely shit, and that gaming is over. And I just want to say that's kind of crazy. And so much of it purely just sounds like fear-mongering, kind of, clickbaity kind of stuff to just kind of, get attention. It's easy to get attention when you're out there complaining that every single video game is bad. Happens all the time. It's kind of just the world we live in now. And looking back at 2024, at this point being in December, the year's almost over, looking through some of the games that have came out this year, I'm not going to lie. There was some really big stinkers. There was some really big flops. And financially, probably some of the biggest flops ever in, the gaming industry. Thanks, Concord, whatever the fuck you're called. Also, thanks, Skull and Bones, which was definitely expensive and terrible. And you had other, just bad kind of games throughout the year. You had stuff like Star Wars Outlaws, which didn't, pull off what it wanted to. I don't really know how else you want me to say it. And various other games that simply were not very good. And, now with the uproar of, certain stuff with the Game Awards, where you got people upset about The Witcher 4, people upset about the new Naughty Dog game, everything like that. I think the overall idea of this, for a lot of people that are saying that gaming is over, that it's broken, that it's this and that, it's basically gone to shit. I think what those people are more so doing is comparing right now video games to probably like to me it'd be like 10-ish years ago when I was a kid. I had all the time in the world, played all these games, didn't give a shit, couldn't care less. I didn't have a fully, functioning brain at the time. I was probably 14-ish years old, where I just cared about playing fun games. And gaming was different. It was like fucking 2014 or earlier. The amount that gaming has exploded in popularity, in just market size, everything like that is going to mold it into something new because it's going to continue to add more people to it. And these gaming companies, they care about money. That's all they really do care about. And obviously, sometimes you lose a fuck ton of money, like Concord. Shit happens. But I think them losing that is going to teach them, that's just gonna lose money. We can't do that. Hopefully, that's a hope. But I think it's crazy to think of it's so much different, that games are so different, everything. I don't like it anymore. I wish it was how it used to be or something like that. I think every 10 years there is always going to be a kind of generation genre of gamers, age group, that is going to feel that certain way. I'm sure every grade 7 to grade 10, I don't know how old, the younger-ish kids that are fully getting into video games, that are super wired in, play hours on hours every day because they don't really have anything else going on. I'm sure there's a ton of kids that are like that. I did that as a kid, and I played sports and shit. You have endless time as a kid where you don't as an adult. In 10 years from now, they're probably going to look back at that, that gaming kind of time and be like, man, that's when games were the best. All this kind of stuff. Why can't it be that? And realistically, they just want to go back and live that. It's a big nostalgia factor that I have with it, where it's like you literally just want to live, in this perfect, easy ass time, which I think most people do. If you can go back and live when you were younger, you had all the time, you had all this freedom, stuff like that. Who would say no, right? And to go off more about like the games of like, 2024 was by far the worst year of video games. You hear that, you've heard that. It's easy to pick the certain games this past year that were not very good. Every year has awful games, and I will easily say that year to year, I would say 2023 easily had the worst games. Not financially. Concord is in its own it's an anomaly for how much money it spent and how much money it lost. It probably won't like come up again that something of that kind of statue is that fucked up. But in 2023, you had games like what was it? The Last Day or something, like the game that was just a pure scam. Everyone knew it was a scam. It's still released and people had to pay to play it. And it fucking sold. And then a few days later, they gave out refunds because it was a scam. Who would have thought? That actually has happened. You also have stuff like Gollum. Stuff like the King Kong game from last year. Stuff like, I'm pretty sure the Walking Dead Dynasties or whatever that game was. That game was 2023, I'm pretty sure. Absolutely fucking horrible. I know 1 year to date, that's not really changed. Like, you're proving a point of, now games is completely different. Where I would say the worst gaming probably that was not English. The worst kind of era that gaming got into, I think, was probably when everyone found out what microtransactions were. Because realistically, that was where you were like getting hammered with, financially fucked, while also being kind of shortchanged on the gameplay of them just putting slop into loot boxes. You're paying money to then open a bunch of random shit. I'd say like 2017, 2018 time was probably the worst time frame of that. But even now, we have so many games in 2024 that have just kind of felt like old school games that didn't care about the microtransaction bullshit or anything else going around, any other kind of bullshit orbiting it. You have something like Space Marine 2. Great game that just wanted to be a fun game. You have the new Indiana Jones game. Pure, just a fun ass game. Good time. Gameplay. No outside kind of bullshit. No microtransactions, shit like that. They didn't butcher Indiana Jones. But you never hear that, right? You always hear the bad. I guess it's today's fucking thing. It's crazy to me that it seems like in today's day and age of gaming, and I don't know if it's like the internet culture behind it in some way, that it's like, because it's kind of like this everywhere, where it's either one extreme or the other extreme. And people shit on stuff like IGN because they give out like endless 7 out of 10s in their reviews, which, to be fair, not every game is a 7 out of 10. But also, to be fair, probably most games are. Like, realistically. Like people like Elden Ring, 10 out of 10, perfect game, right? In a lot of people's eyes. Shadow of the Erdtree, great game, just came out. But you could also have the argument of like, most of the FromSoft games is like a similar formula, right? Where you're in a fantasy world going boss to boss, and it's, new boss character design, stuff like that. But a lot of reused bosses, a lot of reused animations, same idea of it. Story. Let's make the story very kind of, not in the forefront, so people have to, dig into it more and stuff like that. I'm not saying FromSoft games are bad in any way, but it's just crazy that every single one of them has been like put on a pedestal of 10 out of 10. And then so much more, it's like, if it's not up to that standard, it's a fucking absolute shit game, I don't know. Like, there's so many people that play video games nowadays, especially since like the 2020 lockdown where everyone was in their house and had to do nothing, and they played video games because they had all the time and they were at home, stuff like that. That increasing this huge population, there's going to be a lot more casual gamers that kind of just want to play Star Wars Outlaws because the back drops and it feels like Star Wars. And yeah, sure, it might not be the best game in their eyes, but they had fun playing it, so it's fine. That happens insanely more. And I don't think it's like going to get less of that just because gaming is growing and growing and continuously growing. And people are still making amazing ass games where it's to the point like, obviously, it's not like gaming isn't over. It's just going to change because every industry changes over time. It'd be crazy to think if it didn't. You know, you get stagnant, you get bored of something, and then you'd hate it for that reason instead of the reason of it changing. That's my opinion. If you look at 2025, it already has a bunch of games that are announced that should be coming out. I mean, like, GTA 6 is supposed to be coming out next year, and, like, it's going to break the fucking internet. Just because it's GTA, it's going to. I don't know. I'm sure people will complain once GTA comes out for certain dumb reasons, but I don't know. It's gotten to a point where I was like, how, like, it must be so fucking exhausting to just live your day just hating on 99% of video games that don't appeal to you, or, you know, you just think it's ruining every other game out there, and you stick to like the 1% of games that you know you like and you just keep replaying them. You can do that. Absolutely. I think that's a perfectly fine and smart thing to do if you enjoy playing those games. Don't just, you know, play something else and go, it's different than what I like, so it's a fucking absolute trash can. I don't know. That's just, I need to rant. I'm sorry, there's supposed to be a gameplay kind of fun video. I lied. That didn't happen. Lazy me. I hate myself. I'm sorry. I'm a disappointment. That will be Monday. I will have the weekend to edit it, and it'll be perfect. No, it won't. But that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to rant a bit. I'm sorry if you're, you know, going to scream at me in the comments or anything that I'm an idiot, that, yeah, I'm never going to say Concord, whatever, correctly ever, back to back. Look at Skull and Bones. Look at, you know, this and that. They're all terrible games. Yeah, they are. And there's going to be terrible games every single year. And it's never going to change. But you know what the best part of that is? There's always going to be super amazing games out there like Balatro. But be sure to leave a like if you enjoy. Consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a great weekend. Peace out.